As you know, I've been reading a lot of Robert E. Howard books. Actually, I read one other book, Elborak, by him, and I wasn't very into it. As I stated in another video, it was kind of like Indiana Jones, but with swords and guns. But I did pick up from my local library, Bran Mak Morn. I got this from my local library because I'm really too poor to buy a lot of Robert E. Howard books. A lot of them are a little more money because they're nice editions and they're collections that feature like lost works and stuff like that. It would have been nice to read the newer edition that is a more complete edition that has illustrations in the book, but as I said, I could not afford to buy that version, so I had to borrow this one from my library. This is not going to be a complete review of the book, as I'm still in the middle of reading it, and I don't believe in spoilers. I'm going to tell you why it's a cool book and why I think you should check it out, but I don't want to tell you how it ends, like it really matters anyways, because it is a book of short stories. But, Bran Mak Morn, and yes, it sounds Celtic, but he is a Pict chieftain, or king. And the thing I love about Robert E. Howard is he really gets into his historical stuff, and I guess you could say it's historical fiction, because he does his research, and when he writes characters, he tells you what it was like back then. And in these short stories in this book, he introduces you to another character of his, Kull, who is the king of Atlantis. One of the things I was surprised to see in this book were some lines of poetry, which I really didn't know that Robert E. Howard, wrote, like little short poems. It was kind of cool to see that it was a different thing to expect from this writer. As I said, I only read like 2 volumes of his works, and I'm really surprised by how versatile this writer is. I mean, he only lived to be 30, which really shocks me, and I really don't understand why he committed suicide. I haven't read anything about his background of his life. I guess he knew like H.P. Lovecraft and a few other writers such as Tolkien and all of them. But in thinking of Tolkien, another reason why I love this guy's writing is it's not overly wordy like Tolkien's writing. I know, yes, a lot of people love Tolkien. They love The Lord of the Rings. They love The Hobbit and The Silmarillion and all that. But, yes, while they are good stories, they're just too overly wordy. Some of Tolkien, it took forever to read the Lord of the Rings trilogy for me. And because it was overly wordy. He just put in too many descriptive words that were not really necessary to tell the story. Howard doesn't do that. He just gets right to the point. It's action-packed, lots of scenes of battles, and he describes, right down to the sword going through somebody's helmet and into their skull, and brains and water splashing out. You can't get any more graphic than that. And it puts you right into the fighting scene. So, if you've never heard of Bran Mak Morn, go ahead and check it out. It's a really cool book. Even if you've never read any of Robert E. Howard's books, maybe you've only read The Lord of the Rings or Tolkien or some of the other fantasy authors. Check it out. It's a really good read so far. I'm about maybe a little over half done with the book, and it's got me interested. I have yet to read his Conan stories. I do have a hardcover version of one of them. I think there's 2 to 3 volumes of his collections of Conan works. But that's all for now. Like if you like the video, share it with your friends. Any comments? Do you disagree with what I had to say about Tolkien? What do you think of Robert E. Howard's writings? Leave a comment down below.